Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be going over the upcoming pattern. We're going to have a very interesting one coming up. We're going to have drier conditions over the southern plains, rainy over the east coast, milder on either side of the northern plains, and then right in between there we're going to have some chilly conditions, and then it'll be fairly warm as you head up into the Great Lakes and the Northeast. Now, just to give you an update, for this upcoming week, so starting on I believe Sunday, we're gonna have your August forecast out, then your fall forecast on the 10th, your fall foliage forecast on the 11th, your winter forecast on the 12th, your total snowfall forecast on the 13th. On the 14th we'll have your first snowfall forecast, and then your first frost forecast on the 15th. So those are all going to be coming out every single day on at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you have any questions on any of those, just wait until they come out, and then I'll be responding to all the comments there. If you have any questions for me on today's video, leave a comment down below and I'll respond within a few hours of you posting it. So let's start off with the current National Weather Service page, and you can see that we have some red flag warnings which are up into parts of Nevada, California, and Oregon. We also have some excessive heat warnings in effect for parts of Arizona, Nevada, and also into California, with a few heat advisories in Southern California. We have more heat advisories into parts of Oregon, Idaho, and Washington, with some air quality alerts over a good portion of the Northwest, also into parts of the upper Great Lakes, and a little bit of Texas. We have some flood watches also scattered about into parts of New Mexico, Florida, and also a little bit of eastern North Carolina, as well as a tiny bit of eastern Massachusetts and pretty much the entirety of Rhode Island. So yesterday we had a high temperature of 122 degrees in Death Valley, California, with a low temperature 14 miles west-southwest of McKay, Idaho, where they got down to 35 degrees. The highest rainfall report was 5 inches in Johnson City, Texas, and there were no snowfall reports as of yesterday. Here's a look at the European model, just to give you an idea of what each color represents. The blues, the greens, and the purples, those indicate colder or below normal temperatures compared to your average. And then for the oranges, the reds, that's where we're dealing with some of the warmer temperatures or the above normal areas. And we're also going to be looking at a couple other factors. We're not just going to look at the temperatures, we're also going to take a look at how much rainfall you're going to be expecting over the next couple of days. So we're going to cover all sides here in this pattern forecast. Now this would be for tomorrow, and you can see that we have colder temperatures actually into the eastern and central United States. So starting off this model run, and this a couple of days, we're going to be starting off with a little bit of colder temperatures in the east, warmer in the west, and those things are going to invert. So we're going to see some warmer temperatures head into the east, and then over the central U.S. and parts of the southern plains as well, we're going to be dealing with some colder temperatures moving into that area. Now, I do think that even though it is going to be warm now, I think it will probably cool down, just like it did to start off this month, probably around the end of the month. So I think probably around the 20th, 25th, around there, it's going to start to cool down once again, just based off of some of the longer range models. And again, we don't have many good models for that far out, but based off what I've seen, I do think that is going to change over the next couple of weeks. So I think even though it is warm now, I think it will definitely cool down probably as we're nearing September. So here would be for a Friday, and this is when the pattern starts to really shift. So what we have is some colder air into the northwest. You see that little column of colder air through the central U.S. and then also for the southeast and the southern plains. And then we're starting to deal with some warm air into the northeast and Ohio Valley, and that's the start of what will be a fairly prolonged area or a fairly wide area of warmer than normal temperatures. Moving us along, you can see that now we have warm temperatures from coast to coast, from California to Maine, where we have those warm temperatures. You can see the colder temperatures into the northwest. Again, this will be changing by the end of the week. And then also into the southeast and the southern plains. One of the reasons that we're dealing with these colder temperatures into the east coast is because of the rain that will be moving into these areas. That should help to bring down the temperatures by a few degrees. So that is one of the main factors into why we have those colder temperatures right there. Moving on to the next day, here would be by Sunday of this week, and you can see that we're now dealing with a fairly consistent area of warmer than normal temperatures in through the east and the central U.S., as well as parts of the southwest. A little bit colder as you get closer to the shoreline, so along the east coast, also along the Gulf Coast, it's a little bit cooler, but the rest of the United States dealing with those warmer temperatures. Also for the northwest, we have some of those colder temperatures. That again will be going away over the next few days. If we go to Monday, you can see that we have some warmer than normal temperatures into parts of the central U.S. and then also into the eastern U.S., except for, again, the coastal areas, especially along the Gulf Coast. It should be fairly chilly for those areas, near normal to slightly below normal, which it'll actually be quite nice because this time of year, many of those areas are getting up either into the upper 80s or the 90s on average. So when you're a couple degrees below normal, now at least you're in the middle or upper 80s, even lower than that in some of those spots. So especially in August, I think a lot of people definitely would take the colder temperatures over the warmer ones, considering that when you have above normal temperatures in August, it can be really, really uncomfortable to go outside in those temperatures in the mid and upper 90s. So luckily, those areas are escaping some of the heat by being a little bit below normal. As we move on here, you're starting to see the warmer temperatures move into the northwest and the colder temperatures retreat. And what you're starting to see is that this area of cold air is moving right into that pocket over to the northern plains. And eventually, they'll just kind of be sitting right into this gap in between the two areas of warmer temperatures. You can see it is getting quite warm if you live anywhere east of the Rockies, except for along the Gulf Coast. And you can see that we're dealing with temperatures about 3 to 7 or 8 degrees above normal Celsius, which would be around 5 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. Here would be by Wednesday. This is the last frame that we're going to look at. You can see that we have warmer temperatures into parts of the eastern and central U.S. as well as for the northwest. This area of colder air, even though we're going to stop here, if you were to go out a couple more days, you would see this head further to the east into the northern plains, especially for areas like the Dakotas and Nebraska. So that's why I put it in the thumbnail, just because I think probably right after this, I'm ending the model image right here. But if you were to go out 2 or 3 more days on this, just to see what would happen, that area of colder air would definitely be into those spots. So they're expecting to get a little bit colder over the next few days, and also along the Gulf Coast, it will also be quite chilly and actually quite dry for that entire area. So an interesting pattern is definitely setting up. We have many things going on in the pattern. We have 2 areas of warmer temperatures. We have some drier conditions and also some rainier conditions as well, all across the United States. So it's definitely very interesting to track this one. Taking a look at the upper air pattern, we're going to look at 3 different frames throughout the week just to give you a good idea of what we're expecting. And I think it is definitely an interesting setup in the upper air. What we have is an area of troughing by the early part or the late part of this week. So this would be by tomorrow, and you can see that we have a bit of troughing into the central U.S. and then this is the shortwave system, which is bringing in all that rain to the southeast and the mid-Atlantic. That's also setting up right here. So that's why we have colder temperatures as we go through Thursday into those spots. We have a bit of ridging starting to build in for the southwest, and that's allowing some warmer temperatures to move into those areas. If you were also wondering why it was cold in the northwest, we have a trough and a low pressure digging into northern California, and that's bringing in colder temperatures for this entire region. Even though it is popping up in that orange color, which usually means warmer, in this case it would be actually a little bit colder than normal. If we move on to Monday, well, this would be for Sunday night into Monday, and you can see that we have a high pressure which is sitting up into parts of New England and eastern Canada. We have a low pressure system which is moving across the northern tier of the U.S., and then you have a big ridge which is just kind of sitting up into this area. What this is doing is not really bringing in warmer temperatures, but it's actually just blocking off most of the rainfall from heading into these spots. So it will be a little bit drier, especially later on into the week and into next week for these areas. And we're going to take a look at that in just one moment. And then you can see that we have a bit of ridging trying to develop as you head into parts of California, but it won't be too successful over those areas. Then for the final frame of the upper air map, you can see that by this point we have the tiniest area of near normal height anomalies into the northern plains. That's signifying the little patch of colder temperatures. The rest of the country dealing with those warmer temperatures for the most part. You have that big high pressure into the northeast and eastern Canada, and then we have another one which is offshore of British Columbia and also into Washington state. So both of those areas dealing with high pressure, and then right in between we have a little area of slightly lower pressures, but it does look like either way it's going to be fairly close to normal within those spots. Taking a look at the precipitation anomalies, you can see that if you live right along the east coast for the next 7 days, it should be wetter than normal by about an inch or so, and even as you get closer to the Carolinas and a little bit of southeastern Virginia, maybe even as much as 3 or 4 inches above the normal for that 7 day time frame. Also, if you live in the northern plains and the Great Lakes, you could also be dealing with some of those above normal amounts of rainfall. And then you have a little gap here in between those two areas of above normal rainfall, and that's going to move through the Appalachians and also down into the Tennessee Valley and the southeast and southern plains, where we have some of those below normal amounts of rainfall that are expected. Taking a look at the total rainfall that is expected from the European ensemble model, you can see that we're expecting about an inch as you move anywhere basically from the east coast, and I would say pretty much anywhere that's about 25 to 50 miles away from the east coast and further east of there. That's where we're dealing with those 1 inch plus amounts, and you can see that even as you get closer to the coast, so for areas of the Carolinas, also into parts of New England, we're dealing with amounts over 3 inches, even closer to 4 or 5 inches according to this model. You can see that little gap in between where we have less than an inch of rainfall expected, and then we have 1 inch plus of rainfall that's expected for parts of the northern plains and the Great Lakes. And then finally, taking a look at the temperature anomalies according to the Climate Prediction Center from the 6 to 10 day time frame. This would be from the 9th through the 13th, and you can see that we're expecting above normal temperatures anywhere east of the Rockies. In parts of the northern Rockies, we're dealing with temperatures getting a little bit below normal, and then along the northwest coast, that's where we're dealing with, again, slightly above normal temperatures. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Just a reminder that on the 9th, I'll be releasing my August forecast. On the 10th, the fall forecast, the fall foliage forecast the day after on the 11th, the winter forecast on the 12th, the total snowfall forecast on the 13th, the first snowfall forecast on the 14th, and the first frost forecast on the 15th. I'll be answering all the comments on those videos, so leave them down below if you have any questions on any of those videos, or also if you have a question for this video, leave that down below. I answer all of your comments just within a couple of hours of you posting them. So again, that is going to wrap it up for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.